No, it wasn't just clickbait. I'm actually using this molder to make 3 more discs for this ring, similar to that one. It's going to be a fun one. Stick around. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. My name is Jan. I'm the Chunky Jeweler. I've got almost 30 years of experience in the jewelry industry, and with this channel we love making jewelry, designing jewelry, teaching each other about jewelry, making of it, creating of it, and taking care of it. So if this is something you're interested in, welcome. Think about clicking that subscribe button, smashing the like button, and today we've got a goodie. Stick around. Okay, let's get straight into it. If you're a little bit squeamish, you might want to look away, because this might get a bit nasty. Fun fact, this is actually not my first time having to do something like this. Back when I was an apprentice, from my second, third year in, we used to get a customer coming into the store every 6 months or so, and don't ask me where she got them from, but she used to bring in false teeth with crown caps on it, or crowns that's been removed, and had us melted down to make her bangles. Technically, I should be wearing gloves doing this, and I'll try not to get bitten. The cutting is obviously not working, so once again, if you're squeamish, look away. Nope, it's not going. We'll have to go to the vise. Okay, I know I've said this a couple of times now, but if you're squeamish, look away now. Okay, let's see how that went. Nice and gross. Oops. Doesn't that just look lovely and gross? Hope it's in focus. So now that we have the remnants of the tooth out, we can weigh it. Grab the scale, stuck the scale on there. .1 grams. That should be enough for 3 discs. Let's go do the fun bit and melt it down. It's gonna smell like butt, that's guaranteed. Let's go melt it. Alrighty then, let's get barbecuing. Smell of tooth decay in the evening. Actually, doesn't smell that bad yet. Okay, so I wasn't really happy with the way that melted, or it poured at least, so we're going to give it another go. And we're going to add some flux powder just to get it to flow a bit better, and see if we can get a better pour in the second go. together. Because it's such a small amount, it's quite tricky to pour, but I think that'll do. Back to the bench. Okay, so now that we have the metal all melted down, I had to stay in the pickle pot for a few minutes, and I think it's ready to be rolled down. So we'll just measure the thickness we need and take it from there. So the total thickness is 2.9, diameter is 4 mil, the ring is 1.6, 1.6 less 2.9, 2.9 less 1.6 is something. I'll grab the calculator and work it out. Okay, so let's go down to the roller and get it sorted. Who's with me? Let's go. Okay, so I found my calculator, and it turns out the top plate of this sample one is 1.6 millimeter. So we will roll this down to 1.6 millimeter flat, and then we'll mark out the discs and get it cutting. Okay, so adjust the roller to our desired height and roll it down. I rechecked my figures. It needs to be 1.4 thick, not 1.6 as I mentioned earlier. It's good, always good practice to double check your measurements so you don't make mistakes. Okay, so now that we've rolled it down to the right thickness, 1.4, we need to kind of measure out each disc. If I remember correctly, it's 4 millimeters, just over 4 millimeters wide. It's got a slight rounded edge. Let's see if I can get it into focus. If you can see there, the disc is slightly rounded on the edges, almost like a little button shape. I see what they've done here. They've actually melted this piece into a ball and just smashed it with a hammer. That's all they've done. Because I didn't do this disc, I'm just supposed to match it. So now I've got to decide, will I do the same thing or will I do it my way? Yeah, I reckon I'll do it my way. Yeah. Cut discs. We'll measure 4 mils. So 2 points. That's too much. There. 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 Okay, we've got our trusty divider. We'll measure out 2 mils, slightly over 2 mil. That should do it. And we'll use our center guidelines. Might bring it a bit closer to mark out our discs. So let's mark out 3 more. Okay, so there we have it. We have our 3 discs marked out. Let's get the focus going. Yeah, 3 discs marked out. And truth be told, usually when I'd make something like this, I would add some extra metal to make it a bit longer, make it a bit easier to work with. But in this case, because we literally melted a gold tooth, I don't really want to mix it with any of my other gold. So here we are, just using the metal that we have. Oh, try and make it work. So generally, the next step would be grabbing your saw frame and cutting each disc. But I've got a little trick up my sleeve. I like doing things the lazy way. I've got a disc cutter back at the table, so let's head over there and get those discs cut. So this is the tool we were using today. It's called a disc cutter, and it does exactly what the name implies. It helps you to cut discs by using these little shafts, and that goes into the hole, corresponding hole, and you put your metal on the inside, bash it with a hammer, and out pops your disc on the other side. Now just got to find the 4mm disc cutter. So, we're back at the bench. You might be asking, why are we back at the bench? And after I've just said, we're going to cut the discs with my nifty little disc cutter. It turns out I don't have the right size, because these discs are odd size. My disc is a 4.7mm, my disc cutter, and this needs to be formal. And trust me if I tell you, from experience, it takes way longer to file the disc down to the right millimeter and keep it round than it is just to cut it out and get it the right size from the get-go. So we'll be going old school with the saw frame, saw blade, and cutting into 3 discs. I might speed up this little section just so this video doesn't get too boring. Let's get cutting. Okay, so I've got a fresh blade in and apply some lube. Now it's ready to cut. Just one disc cut. We'll still shape it a little bit. I'll get the rest of them cut, and then I'll meet you back here in just a second. Okay, so now I have cut all 3 discs. I have lightly filed the edges to get it semi-even, because if you remember right in the beginning of the video, I did mention that this ring, the disc is, let me get focus, that's a bit better. Okay, this ring on the disc, the edges are slightly rounded, and if you look at mine side on, it's not. And I'm a stickler for detail like that. It's not going to look the same. So I've kind of just had this idea. I might just pop them in the doming block, a little bit on either side, and that might give me my edges that I'm looking for. So back to the table, get to the doming block and see if we can make it look the same. Okay, so instead of going to the table, I just brought the doming block to me. So let's see if it'll work. got the diamond block, had a valve somewhere around here. Okay, so you may notice that this hole is too big for this disc, but not to worry, we have a backup plan. This is what happens when you make YouTube videos on the spur of the moment and under pressure, as this ring is supposed to be ready tomorrow. Okay, so we'll pop it in there for now. Grab the valve, trusty valve, and now I've lost the hammer. Jeez. Okay, found the hammer, left it at the table. Let's see. That looks pretty good. Quite happy with that. Let's do the next one. Now the last one. And all this is doing is just making the edges a little bit more rounded and getting them a bit more even. Okay, that should do. Let's get them soldered on. Okay, so there we have it. So I've already worked out that if we place the discs there, it won't fit perfectly. So I need to shift this one over ever so slightly to get them all to fit in nice and evenly. So I think we'll do that first. Move that one, shift that one over, and then we'll get these soldered on. Okay, so now it's time to shift that disc. So we'll just warm up the ring ever so slightly. Oh, great. There's a solder joint right where I need to solder the discs. Oh well, let's push through and see what happens. Hopefully they've used hard solder for the joint and not the disc. That should do. Need to inspect and see that I've still got it in the center. Looks pretty good to me. I'll just quench it in the pickle pot quickly and then get rid of that excess solder that's next to the disc and clean it up ever so slightly. What's wrong with this thing? And then solder the other discs on. Back in a minute. Okay, so you'll notice that I've removed the excess or old solder bits from where the disc was attached, and I've cleaned up, didn't polish it, but I just sanded it and everything, got it all nice and tidy. So what I'll do, we'll get ready to solder the first new disc. So what I think we should do, we'll first cut some solder, pre-cut some solder, just small little blocks. Move the camera for you this way. way more than we need, but I'd rather be safe than sorry than with this particular job. Okay, that should do. Let's get the torch fired up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first warm up the ring, then I'll apply some solder, and then I'll add the disc, because you don't want to overheat the disc, because the ring is a lot larger than the disc. It'll take a lot longer to actually warm up. So what you want to do is warm up the ring first, or your larger item, in this case the ring. Get it nice and hot, get some flux going, then we'll apply some solder, and that joint is still pretty close. Let the solder melt. Grab our disc, place it down. Oh, I need to see if it's centered. Nope. Get it centered and spaced. Kind of looks good. Just warm everything up. There we go. Nice. Now for the other two. So what I'll do is get this level as possible. Just kind of gauge how they'll sit. Before I apply solder. So what I want to do is kind of gauge. Doesn't need to be exact. I mean, this ring is not a, it's more abstract ring than a fancy diamond ring. Just kind of gauge where it's going to sit. I'm just eyeballing it. That's all we need. I would say roughly about a millimeter gap. I don't know how much that is in inches for American viewers, but 1 millimeter gap. I might add it on the screen and how many inches that is. It's like 1 split second, 1/8 of a nano second is in inches. That sounds about right. Okay, so we'll just repeat the same step again. It should still be somewhat warm, and we'll just warm up the ring, get some flux, and I'll just dab it with a flux, dab it with a bit of flux. Just roughly eyeballing it. And I'll take some solder. Dab some solder down. Let's hope this joint doesn't run. Kind of looks even. might not look as even from the top. I'm kind of having a little side angle view of this. Okay, so let's grab a disc, place it down. It's about a millimeter gap. Let's grab the other disc. Place it down. Some more flux. And that'll do it. I'll pop it in the pickle. Pop it in the pickle. And then let it sit for about 5 minutes and see how it turned out. Okay, so there we have it. All the discs soldered on. I did notice that my discs are a smidge higher than the original one, so I will just touch it with a file, bring it a bit lower down, reshape it, and then it's just for clean up and polish. Okay, cue the fast forward montage. Better, not too shabby for old tooth. I think the customer is going to be very happy with that. I think also down the line what he might do, he's got 4 kids and these discs represents those kids, and I did suggest to him when I spoke to him last that we might engrave each disc with the corresponding kid's initial. So that's probably something you might still be looking at. So you might still see this ring in a future video. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video, folks. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. It was an interesting one, if I do say so myself. It's not every day you get to see someone melting a tooth and making a ring out of it. Well, part of a ring anyway. So all that's left to do is say thank you for watching. If you don't mind, smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll try and make future interesting videos, but feel free, check in every so often. There might be something you'd enjoy. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Chunky Jeweler out.